All right, we are live. Good evening. You are in the right place. Welcome. My name is David B. Wright, and I am honored to be serving as one of your hosts for this urgent national webcast announcing the campaign for abortion-free cities.
Yes, and hello, my name is Michelle Hendrickson, and I'll also be helping to host this online broadcast.
We are coming to you from the Students for Life of America headquarters. This is, I guess, the intergalactic headquarters for Students for Life, and I am so excited. I've been looking forward to this online event for a while. We have some huge news to be able to share with you, and of course, we are right now at this moment where abortion is in the forefront of the national conversation. We saw the Texas Heartbeat Act passed, and then that was not struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. So now abortions are not being done after 6 weeks of pregnancy in the state of Texas, thanks be to God. We also see now the Dobbs case coming out of the state of Mississippi that's going to be heard this fall by the U.S. Supreme Court, and that will likely be decided on next spring. It could undermine or even directly overturn Roe versus Wade. This is a critical moment, and we have an opportunity right now to advance the pro-life movement like never before. And that's why it's important for each of us at this moment to innovate and to be willing to do new things. The reason we're at this moment is because people in Texas and in Mississippi and in other places did new things. And if we keep doing what we've always done in the pro-life movement, we're going to keep getting what we've always gotten. And that is every 30 seconds, another boy or girl losing his or her life to abortion. We can't accept that. We need to be willing to innovate and do new things. All the dominoes are lining up for abortion to end in America, for this to be a thing of the past. The abortion industry is responding with everything that they've got, and it's time for us to up our game, to change our game. It's time for historic action to unify our efforts. And so, yes, an abortion-free future is a real probability, a real possibility, something that we can all actually advance. And the team at Students for Life of America, they've been on the forefront of all of these victories our pro-life movement has achieved in these last 15 years. And right now, they're strategically positioned to launch this campaign for abortion-free cities. They've actually been working on this since the beginning of 2021 behind the scenes, and tonight you're going to get to learn what's been going on and how you can now help bring this campaign to your city. So you may be wondering, how is this possible? How can we really expect to see our towns abortion-free? Well, my co-host tonight, Michelle Hendrickson, she's leading the charge at Students for Life as the Strategic Initiatives Director. Yeah. It's an impressive sounding title. So Michelle, you were previously a regional coordinator in the field when you first started with Students for Life. You were then a field team director, and now you're taking on this role leading the campaign that applying everything Students for Life has learned and using it to advance this future without Roe versus Wade. So tell us why Students for Life is ready to lead this charge at this crucial moment.
Yes, thank you so much, David. I am incredibly excited, and just as you said, our team has worked tirelessly testing different elements of the campaign since March. Not only that, but as many of you probably already know, Students for Life of America, we've been working on campuses for over a decade. Right now, we're honored to serve more than 1,250 active groups. That was only at about 900 when I first started with Students for Life. So it continues to grow. We've trained over 130,000 activists. We know that when the pro-life movement needs that grassroots, the pro-life generation is there. Students for Life is there. On the steps of the Supreme Court, the pro-life march in Washington, D.C., school board meetings, local abortion facilities, we are always there out on the front lines. But we recognize more must be done if we're going to achieve our mission of abolishing abortion. That is why we're ready to take the next step, and the reason we asked each of you to join us here tonight to officially announce the launch of the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities, and we're asking for your help in making it a success, bringing it to your city. So we're taking what we know that has worked on college campuses and bringing it out into the communities. To do this important work, we've actually partnered with a coalition of local and national leaders, some of who you get to hear from tonight, and they're going to share their piece of the campaign. And it's in these partnerships that we've been able to create a uniquely unified and strategic effort within these cities.
That's awesome. Uniquely, what were the words you said?
Unified.
And
Yes.
strategic efforts. And that's so much of what we need right now in the pro-life movement at this unprecedented moment. So let's get to it. As Michelle mentioned, we've stacked the deck. You're going to be hearing from pro-life leaders who are partnering with Students for Life on this mission. You're going to hear briefly what these organizations do to serve the movement and how they're working in coordination with this specialized campaign. You'll also be hearing from some local leaders on the ground who've been doing this work for these past few months. You particularly won't want to miss what's been happening in cities like Dallas, Texas. This was awesome. Vice News, which is certainly not a pro-life media outlet by any stretch of the imagination, they followed the Students for Life team around during the campaign locally there, and then I believe they had some choice words for you in their article the next day.
Yes, they called us some anti-abortion vigilantes with a highly sophisticated strategy.
Ooh,
Yes.
well, I would take that as a tremendous compliment. All right, so let's start by explaining exactly what these highly sophisticated strategies are. And to do that, we have got the president of Students for Life of America, Kristen Hawkins, is joining us.
Well, welcome, Kristen. Thank you so much for joining us all the way out on the West Coast.
Thanks for having me on my organization's own webcast tonight. It's so exciting to be here.
Yep. Well, we knew, Kristen, it only made sense to kick this off with you as our first guest tonight. Honestly, this entire thing has been Kristen Hawkins' brainchild. And those of us who have worked with Kristen in the movement for long enough, you know that Kristen Hawkins has some big ideas, especially when it comes to kicking out the abortion industry, big ideas when it comes to saving lives and leading our nation to a post-Roe America. So, Kristen, let me start by asking you, what is the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities, and where did this idea come from?
Well, I mean, I want to start with why the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities, because I think that is what led me to kind of create this gigantic big idea that we're sharing with you tonight, and just be prepared to be overwhelmed. And yes, I have a chart to share with you, so stick with me. We have been at Students for Life for many years focused on a post-Roe America, asking ourselves, what do we need to do to prepare for that moment when abortion doesn't have to be legal in states, and we can work state by state to make abortion illegal. And now with this Dobbs v. Jackson case, it's going to be heard from the Supreme Court very soon. That reality could face us in the next couple of months. You have states now, in wake of the Texas heartbeat law going into effect, who are now, just now, I know, saying, wait a minute, we can do this too, and we can heavily restrict abortions in our state. There is a lot on the line right now. This, for me, I think is the most critical moment we've ever faced in the pro-life movement. And to be honest with you, Michelle, the abortion industry knows it, and they are smart, they are cunning. They've been using the COVID-19 crisis to dramatically transform their entire industry to move from surgical abortions to chemical abortions, because they're already preparing for a post-Roe America. They're preparing for the day when states make abortion illegal. So they want a woman to be able to go on her phone, go on the computer, and order her abortion drugs from other states like California and have it delivered by the Amazon delivery man. This is exactly what's going to be happening and shaping up for our movement in the coming weeks and months. And this is a critical time. And so the question for me was, what aren't we doing? What do we need to prepare for a post-Roe America in our communities? What holes and what gaps are there? And I think one of the biggest things that I have discovered in the 15 years of having the honor of leading Students for Life is when we work together in concert with others in our communities, with leaders and Students for Life groups and church and parish groups working together, we can accomplish so much more. It's unbelievable what happens. And so I want to be able to take some of the things that we've learned on campuses to change minds, to move hearts and minds, to prepare for a post-Roe America, to show women that there's actual resources and support. And we want to do it in a way where we're working together, because I know that's how we are going to get this done. So I know a lot of folks are probably asking now on the webcast. I was tuning in before. Okay, what is this big campaign for abortion-free cities? What are the actual details? Where is this at? Because I would have been asking that question 5 seconds in. I want to know all the facts. So I want to go through just a little bit with you tonight. And I think Michelle, you and David and some of the other guests are kind of unpack it. I'll stress everybody out, give you the overview, and then you guys can unpack and tell everyone how to get involved. I think that's probably the way it will go. We have selected 20 cities for this Abortion Free Cities campaign that we've already begun working in, testing our concepts. If you go to abortionfreecities.org right now, you can see those cities, places like Jackson, Mississippi, Dallas, Texas, Denver, Chicagoland, Rochester, New York, Naples, Florida, Tacoma, Sacramento, Portland, yes, Portland, Oregon. We are not afraid of any city, let me tell you that. And so we are everywhere. And I think we'll probably be near a major city near everyone who's tuning in tonight. But I want to pull up for you a map, a little mind map that I made. And you can all blame David B. Wright for this because he is the one that turned me on to my maps years and years ago. But how I explain the Abortion Free Cities campaign, because it is such a large campaign, taking what we've learned at Students for Life, changing minds, serving women, transforming campuses, what we've seen work in communities, what we've learned from other leaders and activists. And so I want to share with you this mind map, and I think it might help lay out for you the campaign. We essentially have 3 goals. The first is to connect those in crisis to real help, to nonviolent alternatives, women and families. The second goal is to change the minds of those most directly targeted by the abortion industry. And the third goal is the call to action to those who should be with us, so sitting in the pews who haven't joined us. These 3 goals, I think, really encompass how we make an entire city abortion free, not only focusing on shutting down the daily operations of the abortion facility, but changing the culture in a community to reject the abortion facility and the violence they're committing every day. And within those 3 goals, there's 4 different areas that we play. Campuses, obviously, that's what we do at Students for Life. That's our specialty that we bring to this amazing campaign. Communities, cities, that's out in front of the abortion facility, that's in our neighborhoods. The church, where we know we must engage. And I don't know if you've gone over some of those statistics earlier, Michelle, but they're frightening. The majority of women who seek abortion say that they've gone to church recently. And those who say that they don't know of any support service in their church for women who are facing an unplanned crisis pregnancy. And then the 4th place we want to play is in computers. Online, on the phones, where young people are, where the abortion industry is directly targeting our folks, and where we know with the chemical abortion push they're heading. And so those are the areas that we're playing. We're using 3 different sort of activism areas, and you can divide it out like this: effective education, industry impact, supportive services. But I want to kind of just quickly go into what we're doing with the door knocking and everything you're going to hear about soon. So to connect women in crisis, we're going to do something that's never been done in the movement before. We're knocking on doors, but not for political candidates. We're using political technology that's been developed so we can directly target communities and write neighborhoods, write in scripts, report in progress from how those conversations go. But our volunteers are going door to door, not for a candidate, but instead to educate about what's happening in their community, at the abortion facility, down the street from them, and at the nonviolent alternative centers, the pregnancy centers that are also there, which, by the way, no one knows exists. And we're connecting women in crisis, families in crisis. I think hopefully we'll hear some stories tonight of those who knocked on doors and immediately someone was in crisis, spreading the word about the pregnancy resource centers in the community that already exist, the maternity homes, the transitional homes, this amazing network that already exists. So we're educating at the doorstep. This is probably the hardest part of this campaign because as any introvert knows, knocking on a stranger's door is very hard. It's very expensive to do this work, but it is so effective because you're able to have personal conversations. So we're knocking on doors to connect women in crisis. When we knock on those doors, We're also changing minds. So trust me, when you start having a conversation about what's happening in the abortion facility down the street, you know really fast if that person is pro-life or pro-choice. I've had some very illuminating conversations with folks. So we instantly get to have that conversation to convert and hopefully change minds and hearts. We're also able to, at the door, if they're pro-life, after we've converted them, or if maybe they're pro-life but they've never been active before, to get them active and say, great, I hope you'll join us. Will you put this bumper sticker or a yard sign in your yard that all it does is provides a phone number for women in crisis to go to. So we're doing all of that at the door, all three things: connecting women in crisis, changing minds, and compelling people who are with us to do something, to at least just start small and putting a yard sign or bumper sticker on their car or in their yard. The second thing we're doing to connect women in crisis to real support in the community is sidewalk advocacy, sidewalk outreach, and making sure that we're there on the sidewalks. We have a constant presence at that very last moment that we can reach her. Online, on computers, on her phone. If she's sitting in the abortion facility, if she's on a college campus, she's going to be getting ads actually directed targeting her to connect her with nonviolent support services in her community. What's so great about the ads that we're running on her phone, some are digital fences. So if she's sitting in the Planned Parenthood, she's going to be getting her ads. And we are kind of built an invisible fence around the Planned Parenthood, things that I probably shouldn't be saying out loud. So if Planned Parenthood's listening, probably I'll stop talking now. But this is so exciting, and this is cutting edge technology. And what's so neat and something that I love about this campaign is we have different phone numbers. So when we're at the door and we're telling folks about the community support services, we have one number, and on another number, we have another number at the sidewalk advocacy signs right there on the sidewalk from the abortion facility. We're using another phone number when we're doing digital ads and reaching her. The reason we have like 7 or 8 phone numbers in every city going to the same phone bank with our friends at Human Coalition is because we want to measure what we're doing to see what is producing the most amount of phone calls for help, so we can turn up our activism one place or turn it down in another place. So that's what we're doing on computers, on campuses. We're connecting her, continuing to market on campus and to transform policies on campuses. And then churches, we're challenging churches to step up and lead, to connect her and to promote their alternatives that they have in their city available to them. To change minds, we're doing digital ads. So not only are we doing door knocking to change minds, but we're also running digital ads. Just like we're running digital ads to connect her to nonviolent resources, we're also running ads to change minds of young people. This is something we learned how to do very well during the COVID pivot of 2019, where we couldn't be on campuses anymore. And what's so cool about this campaign is, on average, Michelle, we're changing minds at about 30% of young people. So kids who are getting directly targeted by the abortion industry. On campus, we're continuing our work, our educational tours and campaigns to change minds. And on churches, we're doing the same thing. We have some really cool church engagement kits we've created for churches in our Abortion Free Cities campaign to start challenging pastors and priests to talk about abortion. To call to action, same deal. We're at the door calling people to action. In churches, we're building invisible fences around the churches and running ads to people who might be on their phones during Sunday service and shouldn't be, and challenging them to join us in the pro-life movement. On campus, we're encouraging young people to join our movement, and then certainly in churches, getting folks involved. So I know that was a lot of information to go over with you, to share. I see David's face. He's already laughing at how much in detail I probably shouldn't have gone to share with you, but I am so excited for this campaign, because this has been my life for the last year, and I think it's something that at Students for Life, we've been preparing for this moment, not even knowing it was coming, or not even being sure when it was coming for. But the lessons we've learned over the last 15 years, the things we've learned how to do on campuses, how to mobilize young people to knock on doors, how to change minds when COVID shut down all of our campus outreach, all of this was preparing us for this moment. Some big numbers I want to give you tonight. I'm a numbers gal. We hope by the end of this year, to knock on 396,000 doors in just the 20 cities that we've identified in our abortionfreecities.org. We hope to have over 31,000 in-person conversations. Online, we want to have 1.7 million conversations with young people with an average rate, mind change rate of 30%, which would be a 528,000 minds changed. We want to be able to connect 7,300 women with life-affirming resources in these 20 cities this year. We want to bring out sidewalk counselors to log more than 10,800 volunteer hours on the sidewalk in front of abortion facilities. So I'm excited. There is a lot to do, which is why I've come tonight to ask for your help. But hopefully everyone's excited for me about this campaign, and I didn't confuse everyone too much.
Oh, we're excited with you, and you weren't kidding. That was a lot. This is a huge campaign, a very big idea. It all sounds amazing, but I'm sure a lot of people at home are wondering, is this what it is going to finally take to make our cities abortion-free? Will this actually work?
That's a good question. I don't think, look, I have been looking for a silver bullet to end abortion for 15 years. And I'm sure many people who've been listening on this webcast have been looking for the same thing. I constantly am asking myself, what is the most effective thing we can do as a pro-life movement to make abortion illegal and unthinkable? Because that's our goal. That's what we're seeking to do. I don't know of a silver bullet. But I think the strategic areas of engagement we've identified, the Abortion Free Cities campaign, connecting women in crisis, changing the minds of those targeted by the abortion industry, and calling those who should be with us to action to join our movement are the three most important things that we can do right now to make substantial progress, to change our communities, to make them abortion free. I think you've seen the research that we've seen come out from our Institute for Pro-Life Advancement, from other pro-life organizations. We've done this research to figure out how to best communicate to young people, to communicate those most targeted by the abortion industries. We've learned over the years, sometimes through successes and sometimes through failures, how to recruit people to do hard things like, I don't know, knock on their neighbors' doors and talk about the thing you're not supposed to talk about. We've learned about the amazing work that local pregnancy centers, local right to life groups, other national groups are doing, and how to truly partner with other entities, so everyone has a stake in the game. I think all of these lessons that we've learned over the past 15 years at Students for Life, I think they've prepared us for this moment that we have right now. And I think, what's so great about this campaign is it's unifying the movement to work together, which I am firmly convinced not one organization has the resources or the capacity to end abortion on our own. I think, and I know, we must be unified to do it. It's going to take the entire church to do this. We have to be dedicated. That's something I mentioned, about we have these 7 phone numbers, and people are like, Kristen, you're crazy. You have 7 different phone numbers in one city. We're dedicated to doing what works best. If something isn't working, turning off this ad, running this ad, trying a different piece of literature when we're at the door, or a different way of talking or starting the conversation to get more folks having a conversation with us to change their minds and educate them. So we are dedicated to making this happen because we know this is a long-term game. It's a long-term vision that we have. And I think we're being very strategic about this. We're measuring, we're tweaking, we're testing. And that is why even tonight, Michelle, I know when you're going to be kind of announcing how folks can join, not everyone can just join and start an Abortion-Free Cities campaign. We want to be very strategic about who can join in this campaign, because we know the time and dedication it's going to take to make this work in your communities. But I truly do believe this is game-changing. This is a game-changing moment for our entire movement.
Kristen, can I just jump in here for a second? I'm sitting here just basking in the glow of the excitement about this endeavor, because when you think about the importance of being unified, I think it's important for each of us to recognize no social problem in our culture is caused by any single organization. And in the same way, no social problem will be solved by any single organization. We create problems and we solve problems collectively through collective action. And that's why the unified aspect of this campaign, to me, game changer. Number two, it's dedicated. This is a campaign that has a focus, and it invites each of us to dedicate our time, our energy, our talents towards things that will actually move the ball further and further down the field. Instead of just hoping what we're doing is working, we are dedicated to an outcome, and we're dedicated to the activities that will accelerate that outcome. But then the third piece of this is strategic. And you and I have talked for years about how much of the pro-life movement historically has been very reactive, reacting to the problem of abortion. And yes, we should react, but we have to, the words of Wayne Gretzky, when he used to talk about hockey, he said, you don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going. And we need to think ahead of the abortion industry, and we need to be strategic of how we can beat them at their own game. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're being very strategic. So when I think about all this, I mean, it's been 23 years ago that I left my job. Well, 23 years ago, I began to volunteer in the pro-life movement. And it was 20 years ago, I quit my job in the pharmaceutical industry and have been full-time in pro-life efforts ever since. But I think what's happening here is not only do we have this perfectly opportune moment, but we now have a strategy. We have a unified effort. It's dedicated. This truly can be a game changer. So the big question that I have, I know it's the same question the person who's watching us right now has, is how do I get started? Where can I sign up to be a part of this campaign?
That's right. Awesome. I love it. I love you. If you are thinking about that right now, how do I get involved? Because you are my type of person. Okay. So I think we have 3 links for you. I don't know if the powers that be can put them on screen or not, but I'm going to tell them to you. If you want to join a campaign that's already in existence out of those 20 cities that I mentioned, you can go to abortionfreecities.org and you'll see the map at the bottom of the page of the 20 cities. All you have to do is go to abortionfreecities.org/join, and you can automatically sign up for the email list. You'll get updates about what's happening in your city, volunteer opportunities, whether that's out the sidewalk or door knocking, or maybe doing something in a church or a community event. If you don't live near one of the 20 cities and you say, I can do this, I can start this, I can lead this campaign, or I can go recruit somebody who I know should be leading this campaign, that's awesome. And we want you to apply to lead an Abortion-Free Cities campaign in your city. So you just go to abortionfreecities.org/start, and there's an application process. Michelle and her team will email you with the full application process. Like I said, not every group that applies will be able to start one of these campaigns because we have a limited number of resources. These are extremely, one thing I did not mention is the cost of this, and it's multi-millions of dollars, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in every single city that we are personally investing and student life are graciously donating to make sure that this is possible. If you want to get involved in your church, you say, I don't know if I can start a campaign in my city, but my church needs to get involved. And this is whether you live in one of the 20 already started abortion-free cities, or maybe you don't live in one of those cities. You can just go to abortionfreecities.org/church, sign up, and you'll get a full kit of how to get your church involved now, speaking up against abortion.
Kristen, thank you so much. That was awesome. And I thank you for your leadership, your passion, for your vision on this. And most importantly, thank you for launching and inviting all of us to be a part of the campaign for abortion-free cities. Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.
Well, now, Michelle, I know what Students for Life does on campuses, starting these groups, getting these groups to speak out against abortion, helping women in crisis get the resources that she needs. But can you give us an idea what this first pro-life area of engagement that Kristen mentioned, effective education, what does that look like in our actual communities?
Effective education, it lays the foundation in a community. People don't know what they don't know, right? Go figure. We know from multiple polls and studies that people generally don't like abortion. They don't really want to support it. Something about it is icky, uncomfortable, or you know what, they decided a long time ago that they weren't going to bother even thinking about it or talking about it. So if someone isn't going to approach the topic, we're going to bring it to them. So one of the key elements in the campaign is actually going door to door, educating our neighbors, getting the conversation started. Let's just talk to each other. So we do this on campuses all the time. We set up a display, we flyer, we chalk, we'll do a life chain outside, and the conversation is instantly started. In our communities, though, in addition to things like displays, with this campaign, we're actually just knocking on someone's door, getting that conversation started.
So are you going up to them and knocking on the door and saying something like, hey, stranger, what do you think about abortion?
I mean, not quite, but sort of. You get there. The conversation does get there. So first, our main goal when we're going door to door is just to get the conversation on resources going, because our door hanger material, it's going to lead with that. It's going to compare that between, hey, you could go here and get free resources for pregnant and parenting needs, or you could go here. Well, they'll not only charge you money, but they're not even going to give you the same things. And with things like Planned Parenthood, places like Planned Parenthood, we know they don't have pregnancy or parenting options. The only option they have for you is that they're going to end the life of your child. And most neighbors aren't aware of that. They just don't even know what's in their own neighborhood. So that's the first area that we lead the conversation. The second place we'll take the conversation at the door is to make them aware, hey, this abortion facility is in your backyard, and they've actually failed a number of health inspections. This is true all the time. And no matter how you feel about abortion, even if that person on the other side of the door is pro-choice, they're reading that information saying, wow, I didn't realize that. I wouldn't want to go there. I wouldn't want my daughter to go there. So we're just raising awareness about these facilities and hopefully exposing them to the neighborhood and to the community who wouldn't want that in their backyard. And then if the conversation allows, yes, we're actually changing minds right at the door. Now, I'll say I've had a couple of doors slammed in my face, but you get through it because then there's always that one person who on the other side of the door, again, they don't know what they don't know, and you're able to have that conversation and they're saying, wow, I didn't realize that. No, I would never support abortion in these cases, or no, I don't want this in my neighborhood. And it's been absolutely life-changing.
So for this door knocking strategy, is this really designed for the big extroverts of the world?
So I'm actually the world's maybe most introverted person, actually. So I just play.
I'll wrestle you for it. I'm introverted too.
Really?
By
We
nature.
just play the extroverts on TV then.
That's right.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Go home. All right. So no, it is not just for the extroverts. Introverts can do this too, and it is an experience that is 100% worth the effort. We have so many stories, and we have already knocked on more than 70,000 doors since just March in these 20 cities that we're in right now.
All right. I really can't wait to hear from them.
We have a few people here with us tonight to share some of those stories. We've got student leaders and community leaders from Dallas, Texas, and Jackson, Mississippi to tell us about what's going on the ground. And here's some of these door knocking stories. So we have Omar Peters, regional coordinator for the Southern States, and we've got a student leader there in Jackson, Mississippi as well. Laura Lane, a student leader in Mississippi College, and we also have Sarah Czar, Midwest Regional Manager out in Dallas, Texas. So welcome tonight, everyone. And Sarah, I just want to start with you first because you just had your door knocking event earlier this month. I want to hear how that went. You had a unique experience where you were followed by Vice News, if that's right. And how did that go? They were super nice the whole time and wrote nothing but a really amazing article about us, right?
Oh yeah, it was really friendly. Obviously, they had some great quotes in the article, and they said something like we were highly sophisticated. I'll actually read this quote to you. So they said the whole operation was deeply sophisticated, and they went on to say that we would rehearse our speeches with one another, and when we would approach the door, we would check off the houses. and that we would practically vibrate with amazement over the possibility that we had in some way that would help save a life. And to me, they said this in a way that they were surprised, but to me, that shows you how important this operation is, that we do take it seriously, that every door we go to could save a life, could offer pregnancy resources for women and families. And so we do take it seriously, and that's a positive thing.
Absolutely. So when you're having these conversations with people at their door, you know, they don't know you're about to knock on their door and talk about these resources or even talk about abortion at all. And it probably makes us wonder, does this work? Do people actually change their minds right at the door? Does that happen?
Yes, that does happen. You're not going to get every person that's going to change their mind, but you're at least going to leave them with new information and with those resources for the future. And, you know, we do have plenty of stories of people closing the door or being yelled at. But the day that Vice News was following us around, we actually got a mind change at the door. I talked to this young man he was probably in his late 20s, and in the beginning of the conversation, he said that he was for abortion. He was fine with the abortion facility being in his community, and he didn't know about the pregnancy resources available, though. And he kind of used the phrase that we hear a lot of abortion advocates say. They say things like, my body, my choice. And this was a man, so he said, you know, I just think it's her body and her choice. And so I asked him, well, have you ever thought about the other body that's involved? And we had a conversation about that. And he said, no, he never has. He doesn't really know the stages of human development or what abortion is actually doing. And so I explained to him the stages of human development, and I explained to him what abortion was. And then he said, wow, if that's what abortion is, then I'm actually not for abortion. And it was amazing. And we just got to then talk about all the resources that were available. And we left him with our literature. And then we went about our way. But Vice News did not believe that we could actually change somebody's mind on abortion. And so they went back and interviewed this guy on their own. They didn't want me to come because they wanted to see if we had planted this guy as, you know, just to get this news story of people change their mind. And so they went back and interviewed him, and he was, you know, honest. And yeah, I mean, they came to my door. I had no idea they were coming, and I was for abortion. And then once they explained the stages to me, I'm now against abortion. And it was just amazing to see that. And it shows that what we're doing at the door works, and you're going to get really exciting stories like that. And you know, in the Vice News article, it's funny because they called us anti-abortion vigilantes. But in that same breath, then we have this highly sophisticated and organized, diverse group of young women. And so what we're doing out there is really changing hearts and minds, and we see that it's working.
Absolutely. That is so encouraging. I love that Vice News was there for that. That is so funny. They thought he was a plant. That's perfect. You know, but it is happening. People are changing their minds in these conversations because they don't know what they don't know. And this is an opportunity to just open the door, to have that conversation and to make people aware. And for anybody who's willing to listen and have that conversation with us, it has been so encouraging just to see their mind change right at the door, just like you said. So I'm going to go over to Omar and Laura. You guys are from Jackson, Mississippi. It is such a huge focus right now with the Dobbs case up at the Supreme Court. Everyone's paying attention to Mississippi. So I'm curious to know how door knocking has been going in your town. What's the reception there? What's a typical trend you're noticing in Jackson?
Well, the typical trend in Jackson is that people do not know what a pregnancy resource center is. Like you said before, you don't know what you don't know. Everyone has been going, if you're in Jackson or in the metro area or even in the state of Mississippi, honestly, if you're pregnant, you go to the Jackson Women's Health Organization, which has been dubbed as the Pink House. So as we're door knocking, everybody is referring to the Pink House. They're like, oh, you're talking about the Pink House? And we're saying, no, we're talking about a pregnancy resource center that actually does sonograms. They actually provide other testing. They provide so many resources for women. They provide resources after birth. So honestly, when people find that out, they're more open and receptive to it. They're more open to go there, even if they're still pro-abortion. They're actually happy to know that there are other places people can go if they don't want to choose abortion.
Right.
So it's been incredible to open that world up to different people here in Jackson.
Yes, that's where it starts. Just with the mind-changing conversation, like you said, maybe they don't change their mind right there on the spot, but they're supportive of the campaign. They love to hear about the Pregnancy Resource Center. So if you meet someone like that who's receptive, is it just, all right, well, thanks for your time, or do we have more for them with this campaign?
Oh, we have more. We have so much more. We can activate that person right then and there. We have bumper stickers. We have yard signs they can have. There are opportunities for them to volunteer, to join us on the door knocking campaign, or to join other organizations. They're even invited to go to the Pregnancy Resource Center and take a tour and learn more about what that specific center does for the community, for Jackson, Mississippi. There are plenty of ways to get involved and to activate people. It is not okay by thank you for your time. We are trying to make a difference in the community.
I love it. I set you up for that one. I knew the answer to that question because I actually have a bumper magnet here with me, and then I've had it the whole time. Mary Poppins kind of deal over here. We've got our yard signs as well. So these are going to have our Standing With You website on that. And then when you go to that website, you've got a local number that's generated for you that you're able to call and find the resources you need. So now we're getting these materials out into our community. These are free resources to be using out while you're door knocking. And then activate that community member right then and there so that they can be driving around on their cars with these things. They can put a sign in their yard and feel like they're part of the campaign, at least in some small way as well. So we'll end with Laura. I want to hear about your advice. Now, you are just an amazing student leader of ours. Thank you so much for the work you do on your campus and for now going outside of the walls of your campus and going out into the community. It's a big first step for a lot of students and a lot of community members out there. What would be some advice you have to anyone who's considering door knocking? Maybe they're hesitant about it, but they think they're interested. They want to join in. What's your advice for them?
Yeah, I definitely get that a lot whenever I tell people about the door knocking campaign. They're like, oh, that sounds like, I don't know if I want to do that. Go and knock on someone's door. I don't know. But it's honestly not as intimidating as people think. You're just going up, and if you're genuinely just going up to their door and offering them just information that's not necessarily politically involved, it's not necessarily oh, I'm trying to convince you of to be pro-life. No, it is a genuine offer of information, being there are other things out there besides abortion. So there are abortion alternatives. And so it's definitely a very neutral conversation. And yeah, if you just kind of go in looking at it being we're giving people very valuable information, because like Omar said, a lot of people think that the Women's Health Center, the Pink House, is the Pregnancy Resource Center, and that's just not true. And so I think we're just out there bringing a lot of clarity to the community in Jackson of just what other resources we have. So
I love that. We're being the solution, right? We know there's a problem in our community with the misinformation or just no information, and we have to be that solution for our neighbors and for our community members. So we're getting over that initial hurdle if we have, nerves or anxiety about getting out there and trying this. But just like you said, you have to get out there and do it, try it, because we know it's changing minds and we know it's saving lives. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Sarah, Omar, Laura, for joining us tonight and telling us these inspirational stories. And best of luck to you out there on the ground.
Thank you.
So as you're hearing about this campaign and you're thinking, wow, I need to do this, but I'm not in Dallas or I'm not in Jackson, Here's how you can help. First, do check if you live in one of the 20 cities. There are 20 cities in all that Students for Life is sponsoring through this campaign. We need your help to sign up and join us in that door knocking. We will train you. We will give you access to the advanced technology that we're using to target those neighbors and record those interactions and set you out with a team of volunteers in your city. If you don't remember the list of 20 cities that Kristen mentioned earlier, just go to abortionfreecities.org right now and see if you live near one of those 20 major cities and sign up for the volunteer opportunities. Reach out to the community coordinator of that city and we will contact you immediately about ways that you can volunteer. And in some of these cities, we are hiring part-time community organizers.
Ooh.
So excellent way to get your feet wet in the movement and get started. We've actually filled the positions of 6 already, but there are plenty more that we're hiring for, so you can check that out too. Now, if you don't live near one of those 20 cities already engaged in the Abortion Free Cities campaign, that's okay because you can apply tonight to start your own campaign. All right, so if your application is accepted to lead an Abortion Free Cities campaign in your city, Students for Life, at no cost to you, will send you all of the documents you need to print and get started, including that city customized door hanger that we showed you earlier. I'm not done yet. There's
more.
There's still more.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. So for 3 new cities starting this campaign, we're even going to go further than that. Students for Life will not only create this door hanger for you, but we will also cover the cost of professional printing for your door hangers. The first few months of the license to use that highly sophisticated phone app is also going to be covered, and that tracks your door knocking data. So you'll also get your own unique call center phone number so you can track how many calls you're generating to the local pregnancy resource center, and you will get a get started kit with lots of other printed resources like the yard signs, bumper stickers, postcards, church kits. Whew, there's tons of resources.
So I want to be in on this. How do I go about? I want to be one of those.
Yeah.
How do I sign up for
Awesome.
this?
Well, sure. Anyone can apply. So you just go to abortionfreecities.org/start to start a campaign. You'll get an email from our team and just follow the application process.
Okay, so next we're going to actually hear from each of the campaign partners to learn more about the specific piece that they hold to this puzzle that we're putting together. And you're also going to find out how you can get involved in these specific areas. So first, let's keep going with the engagement area of effective education, Michelle.
Yes. So we're not only educating and changing minds of people in person, on campuses, and at the doors, but the Abortion Free Cities campaign has also launched cutting-edge online programs to educate and change minds online. And we have our next guest, Josh Tiarina from H&H Digital, to explain all that has been going on behind the scenes in these cities. Josh, tell us a little bit about how we're already engaging online in these cities to change minds and connect women in crisis to local pregnancy centers. And maybe you can give us some of the results so far since our digital campaign began this spring.
Thanks, Michelle. I kind of want to start to answer this question here, going into a little bit of kind of setting up the context of what it is that we're doing for abortion-free cities. Right now, and I realize there's 20 cities across the board that SFLA is in for the digital campaign. We've been in 7 so far since the beginning. We just launched the 8th. And really, I think the context here is the ability to engage people online digitally and really sort of like mimic that mind change that's happening in person and trying to execute that online. And the ability to do that, honestly, has been being a part of this, it has been one of the most, innovative and kind of groundbreaking things that certainly I've ever been a part of. And I think definitely within the pro-life movement overall, it's been a really cool campaign to engage in and be able to work on. But I would say that, it kind of starts with looking at how a person's mind changes when there's a physical conversation, 2 people kind of back and forth, and how we can sort of relay that online, because it's a little bit different. The psychology is a little bit different as individuals are usually on their phone or they're in front of a computer, and it's a very personal space. which offers some benefits because we're able to really engage with them without sort of a tribe or sort of herd mentality that might come with some of these more controversial issues. But also at the same time, we have very little time to engage them. I mean, seconds really before they kind of can move on. They can click and go anywhere on the internet and leave us behind. And so how to do that was something that we really had to solve. The other problem is that in person, when you can talk to somebody, you can really see their facial features and are you really engaging them? Are they glazing over? What's sort of happening? There are these qualitative elements where online it's quantitative. I mean, it's the ability to sort of like, how do we take these numbers, this data, and these interactions with these individuals and be able to quantify that someone's mind has changed. And so we really, at the very beginning, those were the struggles that we had to take on. So it was in reality a massive undertaking to kind of engage people in this way. And so, and not only that, it was sort of the holistic nature of this project, which was not just changing minds, it was also engaging women in specific, situations and connecting them to, pregnancy centers in their city where they would choose an alternative to an abortion. It's also, all of the things that we're doing as far as geofencing, whether it's geofencing a campus and specifically engaging different demographics there, or even geofencing abortion clinics and serving up ads saying like, hey, you know what, this isn't your only option. You can get up, walk out, and we immediately connect you with a pregnancy center there that's going to help you choose life, that's going to give you options. And so I think that the sort of bigness of this project is something that I think is really important to mention as well. That it's not just solving the mind change problem, it's also sort of all of those gaps, digital gaps that have existed about how to connect people, how to connect women to help, how to engage the mushy middle and change their minds, how to engage people that are pro-abortion and change their minds. And then finally, how do we rally the pro-life movement within a city in order to help really free that city of abortion and move Planned Parenthood and the like out of that city. So those three areas specifically we had to tackle digitally. So massive campaign. So I want to kind of convey first sort of the bigness of what it is that we're doing, and it really did take a lot of innovation in order to get there. So I think in that, I'm certainly very proud of that, and I think that the SFLA team should be as well, because it was just a massive undertaking. And I'll break down a little bit each one of those things really quick for you. We'll start with helping women. One of the things that we are doing, we're running Google search ads in order to connect people, women specifically that are looking for, that are looking to have an abortion, or that are looking to are questioning things on, looking at the internet for help, looking at Google for help with questions that may ultimately lead them down the road of abortion, where they'd only find Planned Parenthood. We're now connecting them to local pregnancy centers for help for free health care. We're also running ads on a multitude of platforms, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or the Ad Exchange, which is a like an ad that you might see if you were reading a blog or watching a video, that you'll see our ad there as well. So we really covered nearly the whole entire spectrum of ads that we can run in the city, that we are able to reach everyone in whatever situation they may be, whether they are reaching out, which is the most likely, right? Like a Google search, that's going to be the most likely that they're going to do. But also catching them in moments, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or using the Ad Exchange, in moments where they might be thinking about it and then they see an ad come across their phone. So it wasn't just this element of them having to reach out to us. We're also there present when they're looking as well. And so that give and take of ad performance has been really important for us as we sort of launched the system or launched this campaign. And so that really is the concept of helping women and connecting with them literally no matter where they're at digitally. and getting them over to a crisis pregnancy center. In regards to changing minds, that element has we've launched a series of what we call like conversion quizzes, which are targeted both at changing people's minds on abortion, and then also one specifically about changing people's minds on Planned Parenthood. And then we also, SFLA has done some research on women, specifically women's research on abortion. And so we've crafted a couple of videos based on that research, and we are running those in the cities as well. So where a quiz is text-based, so it's they go to the website, they engage with us, and we sort of are targeting people that are mushy middle or pro-abortion. And by the end, we count a conversion as somebody that has sort of raised their hand and said, I was pro-abortion, or I did like Planned Parenthood, and I'm open now. I'm open now to the ability that I see that there might be some things that are wrong here. And the videos do the same, but the message there is specific to the research that was conducted by Students for Life in order to target women and issues within abortion that specifically are that they are concerned with. And so all of those have been running really, really well. Each city, and this is kind of maybe another bit of context here to mention, is that each city is specifically different. Take Phoenix, for instance. In Phoenix, we've had a really high success rate of conversion, but Phoenix itself tends to be one of the more quote-unquote pro-life cities that we engage in. You can look at another city like Rochester, New York, where we are having a lot of success at changing people's minds on abortion, but we are having a lot of difficulty at changing people's minds on the Planned Parenthood brand. So huge favoritism towards that brand specifically, but they're more open-minded on the issue of abortion itself. And then when Planned Parenthood sort of comes into that discussion, it gets shut down pretty quickly in Rochester, and then all the other cities, kind of in between. And I would say one of the more interesting things that is encouraging for Students for Life, for the people that are involved in this campaign, the people that support this campaign, the real interesting data that we've gotten. I literally just wrote a paper on this last week and sent it over to Students for Life, is that we know now, after running these campaigns, at least for the last 5 months, we've reached 100,000, well over 100,000 people, I think in each city. And then, or just under that. And then, as far as minds changed, we've had over 11,000 total so far within the 7 cities. And like I said, we just launched an 8th. So those are massive results we're very proud of, and we're really excited with where it's going. But the thing that we've learned is that cities that were pro-life before, like say Phoenix, when we pre-surveyed the city, really demonstrated itself as being pro-life. And when we surveyed it, it showed the results were that I think 88% of the people that we surveyed said, hey, we're pro-life. When we go to run a mind change, mind conversion techniques in those cities where they are pro-life, we have a higher success rate because culturally it's already moving in that direction, and people are more okay. They've probably had more discussions where their friends are pro-life, or that activism exists within their city, and they recognize that. In cities that are markedly less pro-life, the conversion is more difficult. And this is the most true and proven out in Denver. In Denver, we actually ran tests for this campaign, and they weren't fantastic. It was really a purple, sort of from a political spectrum, a purple city. And we were there for, I think, about 6 to 9 months that we were running ads there before. And those ads really struggled, but we saturated the market with those ads and with those conversion techniques. Now that we are back in Denver, I would say about 6 months to a year later, it is becoming one of our most pro-life cities. So we know that absolutely it makes a difference over time, that people are converting as we are running these ads, as we are changing people's minds, that we are starting to see them convert at a higher rate. Denver is sort of our proof city that we've ran for almost 2 years now. The same is true in Phoenix, and then the really pro-abortion cities. We're finding the opposite is true, that it's a very nuanced message that works in those cities where they may accept a anti-Planned Parenthood message, but not a pro-life message, that type of thing. And I think the third element here that is super important is really activating people that are pro-life, and also the people that we convert, getting them both to engage in the community, really connecting with churches there. We have a geofencing program that will start running in churches, which means, we kind of create a digital circle around the church and then serve ads so that people know how to engage with us, and really getting people that are pro-life to take charge of their city and give them ways in order to actively express their pro-life beliefs and make real change in their community. And when you connect the physical and the digital, I think as that really happens over, I would say, the next 6 months or a year, we are going to start to see massive shifts in some of these cities. Denver is an excellent example where we're already starting to see that shift happen. I think it'll be true of Phoenix, and I think that Tacoma, Washington, another city we're in. I'm sort of predicting that as the next to kind of go the Denver route. So, I mean, we're very excited. It's like we said, it's super innovative. These were really difficult things to do, and we were able to jump in, work with SFLA, and really get these done. And so I'm super excited. I really appreciate the ability to kind of get in here and share this. And I'm just looking to expand to more cities and get more work done. So I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Wow, thank you, Josh. There is so much going on both on the ground and online. I am so grateful for people like Josh and his team that are able to use this technology within the movement and get these results.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, if you want to be a part of this incredible campaign for abortion-free cities, the easiest way to do that is open a new tab in your browser or get your mobile device, whatever you're not watching this on, and open up abortionfreecities.org. That's abortionfreecities, plural.org. You don't add plural in before the .org. Abortionfreecities.org. And if you do that, you can locate the city campaign that's nearest to you, and you can sign up to stay up to date with this work and also learn about the upcoming volunteer opportunities. Or if you want to bring this campaign to your area, go to abortionfreecities.org/start, abortionfreecities.org/start, and you can begin the application process to bring this campaign along with all of Students for Life's mentorship and their free resources that they're offering. So now, Michelle, can we move into the supportive services area of engagement? We know that we have to meet women where they are in the midst of a crisis pregnancy situation if we want our cities to actually become abortion-free. Then we have to provide the resources, and the good news, those resources are already outnumbering Planned Parenthood 12-1. That's 12-1. Pro-life, life-saving, pregnancy help resources outnumbering Planned Parenthoods by 12-1. But the problem is, nobody really knows that they even exist yet. So we've not only got this door-knocking team on the ground promoting resources, and we've got Josh and his team helping to run these targeted ads on computers and phones to reach women in crisis, but also we're partnering with Human Coalition to make sure that all of these women and families we're connecting with in person and online are immediately connected to their local pregnancy center, and we're already seeing huge results.
So tonight we have Rachel Lane, National Director of Family Services with Human Coalition, one of our most trusted partners with this campaign for abortion-free cities. This organization is helping us on the ground get women connected to life-affirming resources, which we heard earlier from our door-knocking crew that sadly so many in our community are just left unaware of the life-affirming resources that are available right in their own neighborhood. So Rachel, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Rachel, explain to us a little bit more about Human Coalition. What is it that you all do and your role in the campaign, and how are you getting women connected to these life-affirming resources?
Yeah, so we offer marketing services and contact center services to pregnancy centers all over the country, as well as our women's care clinics that we operate. And so we have been able to partner with Students for Life in providing them unique phone numbers with area codes that are specific to the city that they are working in. And they're able to put that on various resources. And so then we're able to see what phone calls come in and see the effectiveness of it, and then be able to strategize what methods are working and which ones are not. As that client is calling in, she's connected to a trained specialist who talks about all the decisions that she's trying to make and all the options that are available to her. And then also trying to connect her to local pregnancy centers that provide those free resources that she's in need of. And so we're able to really do a strong handoff to the local pregnancy center who's able to meet with her face-to-face and provide quality services.
That's incredible. And that's another favorite part about this campaign is just that measurement piece that we're able to see on the back end, hey, this number is working in this area, or this outreach method is, more strategic and getting more calls than this one. And then you can pivot and sort of change the game in each strategy, because what works, or in each city, because what works in one city might not work in another. So I love that piece of it. So on your end, how do you know that these phone calls are working?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's part of our follow-up process. So once we've handed her off to the pregnancy center, we want to follow up and just make sure that she received the services that she needed, that something hasn't changed in her situation and maybe she needs another one. And so we will follow up with her pretty extensively, roughly around a month after that initial phone call. And so we're checking in and just making sure that her needs have been met. And that's how we've learned that 10 babies have been saved so far through this campaign.
10 babies so far, and we've only been doing this campaign in partnership with you all for honestly a couple of months. And this is now our official launch of getting this out across the country. That is so, so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight, Rachel.
Oh, thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for having me.
All right, so either after this webcast, or you can open another tab in your browser or pull up your mobile device or another tablet, whatever, right now. We don't want you to go anywhere. We still got a few things to do in this important webcast, but you can go see that updated website at abortionfreecities.org. And from there, you can either join a current campaign, or if you're not in one of those 20 cities where a campaign already exists, you can actually start your own campaign to get this going right in your community and see these successes we've been talking about actually happen in your town. You can get your own door hanger material, your own unique call center number, so you can see the impact you're having in your community, getting resources out to so many people, and you get to be a part of saving lives. Kristen Hawkins was not kidding earlier. There's a lot happening in the midst of this campaign.
Yes, there are so many layers with this campaign. We're actually not through yet. There are even more materials that you can get completely free. And our next guest is going to explain not only the resources that we have for women, but what we're offering special for our churches.
So our next partner organization that we're going to hear from tonight is Embrace Grace, and they have some very unique resources that we have been able to utilize at the door and within our churches through the campaign for abortion-free cities. So I am so excited to have Amy Ford, president and founder of Embrace Grace, here with us tonight. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here with us.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
All right, so Amy, tell us about these love boxes that you all have and how you're offering these to women. What's involved with those? How does that work?
Okay, so our love boxes, they are super, super cute, and we give them to women that maybe either, number one, they just need encouragement. They're pregnant and they're really scared for their future and they just need some hope and encouragement. Or number two, maybe they're on the fence whether they should have an abortion or choose life. And we hope that this box inspires them to make a life decision. So inside it has a baby onesie that says best gift ever. It has a journal about being brave and fearless. It has a letter. People all over the nation write Dear Brave Girl letters. In fact, a ton of Students for Life students write Dear Brave Girl letters because the download link is right on our website, and y'all mail them in and we read them all and put them in the boxes. It has a book it's called A Bump in Life, and it's full of testimonials of girls that chose life. But the most important thing inside is an invitation, and it's an invitation to a local support group within a church, an Embrace Grace support group. So we have these support groups that are 12 weeks long, and they get baby showers, they get loved on, and they are in churches all over the nation. So how these girls get the boxes, sometimes it's word of mouth, sometimes they call us, and people, just anyone can say, hey, I know someone that has an abortion scheduled for Friday and I don't know how to talk to her. How can I have this conversation? We say, can we overnight you a box for free? And then you walk it over there and have the conversation with her, and we'll give you some pointers on how to. Students for Life. Sometimes they go on your door-to-door campaign. We've had amazing stories that we've heard about. They happen to knock on a door of either someone that lives there that has an unplanned pregnancy or someone that they know. And so Students for Life has access to these boxes. Pregnancy centers have access to these boxes. They give them to girls that just find out they're pregnant, but inside it is an invitation to a local Embrace Grace group. And then also churches have them as well, because sometimes girls within the church find out that they're pregnant. So we ship them out all over the nation to whoever that needs them. They have saved so many lives. Sometimes it's the onesie, seeing that onesie, or sometimes I have someone actually that works here for me now, but she had an abortion scheduled for the next day and got a box. And knowing her personality now, she's very much a learner. She is a researcher. It's just the way her mind works. So it was the book that really inspired her, because she said she stayed up all night long reading the book. She couldn't go to sleep anyways. And when she woke up the next day, she was like, I can't do this. And that was what inspired her, because she was like, okay, these people in this book, they have a lot worse of a story than mine. And if God did that for her, then maybe God will do that for me too. And it gave her the courage to choose life. So we wanted these boxes to inspire the girls that get them, or women, to get plugged into a spiritual family, to know that they're not alone, that they're going to get a baby shower, they're going to get loved on, whether they choose to place their baby for adoption or choose to parent. They are not going to have to walk through this alone. And it's not even, the church isn't even just for when she's pregnant. The church is forever, because we're a spiritual family. Yes, Embrace Grace can kind of be the bridge to get her in the door. But after that, we hope that she's going to church every week. She's raising her kids in the church every week, whether it's a church, parish, whatever that might be. But we have over 700 groups in 49 states and 10 countries that have Embrace Grace groups. So anyone that's watching, if you ever meet a girl that is pregnant, you can go to our website, embracegrace.com, put in your zip code, and all the local groups pop up in your area. And it has the leader's information, phone number, email address, where you can contact that leader directly and get her connected to real support in her area. And if there's not one in your area, that means we need some in your area. So think about the church or parishes you have relationships with, or maybe you even want to start a group at your church, and we'd love to help you get connected with all the curriculum and the tools to be able to walk alongside her. And we always say pro-life is a stance, but pro-love is an action, and it's God's kindness that leads us to repentance. And this love through the boxes, through the church, through the people, that's what really transforms lives. And so that is what Embrace Grace is all about, is walking alongside her and making sure no single mom ever has to walk alone.
That's incredible. I love the love boxes. It's just such a clever tool. It's very creative. It definitely, captures the attention of that woman in need and supports her right then and there. And I love that in this campaign, we're able to utilize such an awesome tool right there on the ground. Just like you said, in our door knocking experiences, we have had our door knocking crew knock on a door, and on the other side of that door is a woman in crisis pregnancy right in the moment. In Portland, Oregon, there was a young woman who answered the door in tears. She had just taken a pregnancy test like within the 30 minutes before, and our team was right at the door with resources for her. It was just such a godsend, right? And so those moments do happen. And with these love boxes and with your support through Embrace Grace, we're able to get actual physical materials right there when she needs them in those critical moments, truly. So just thank you so much for your partnership and your leadership, Amy. We absolutely love what you all do over there.
Thank you so much.
I so love how Amy makes sure to include the church. We've got to get our churches, our parishes on board with this effort. That's almost a whole additional webcast to talk about ways that we can get churches, congregations, church leaders to talk about the issue of abortion, to destigmatize the issue of unexpected pregnancy. I've personally met so many community leaders, and they're wanting to talk about this in the church, but they feel like they don't really even know, where do I get started? So that's the next amazing resource that we want to show you. So Michelle, can you introduce just a few of the church materials that we've got?
Yes, I have them on hand right now. We want to be able to equip you to get this conversation started in your church. So if you are in one of the 20 cities, I want you to apply for a church partnership kit, and we will ship all this out to you completely for free. Just some simple tools that can get the conversation started at church. We've got these adorable prayer bookmarks that are free to you. You get several copies of these. We've got I Stand with Pregnant and Parenting students for all of our youth group supporters out there, to make sure that we are leading the conversation with hope and love. For our students, and there are those bumper stickers as well, or computer. I guess it would fit better on a computer than a car. Might be kind of tiny.
It's a little small on a car,
yeah,
but
it's okay, because you also get,
maybe you could put it like right here.
well,
Is that a little too much?
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we have larger options for you for bumper magnets. Maybe these are better for the car.
Probably
All right,
so,
that's
yeah.
probably what we did there. And then we've got pew cards. So we stand with you.
Pew! Not that kind of pew.
My goodness, this
Okay.
is going off the rail. If anyone's like stuck through the webcast,
We've been online
yeah.
too long.
My goodness. And then there is just more messages of hope and healing for women who are right there. You can just make sure that these sit in your pews. Oh my goodness, there's more. There's free flyers to support if you have a baby item drive or whatever event that you've got going on in the church. We really just wanted to make sure you had everything that you need. There are no barriers to get this conversation started in your church. We want to make sure you get this kit. So if you're in one of the 20 cities, you get this completely for free. Just sign your church up, and you can go to abortionfreecities.org/church. If you're not in one of those 20 cities and you are part of a church who wants at least something going on in your kit, then we will have a version to send out to you, and there are digital items as well, or the church can start a campaign.
Ooh.
Oh, the church can stand up and start a campaign.
The church can lead. Wow.
Yes,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you avail yourself of these resources. They are beautifully designed. They're high quality. They will really stand out to congregants. They'll immediately see them. And what a great way to engage the church on this critical issue. So let's shift to the next area of engagement. This is one that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's the area of industry impact. So a lot of what we've been talking about thus far has affected the demand for abortion, or the perceived demand for abortion. But we also, in a business equation, you have to affect the supply side. And the abortion industry supplies abortion, and we have to bring that down. We have to do that by closing down abortion facilities, by helping workers to leave, by reducing their supply chain and everything else. So this is an important area of engagement, and I want to make sure you understand that this is just as important, bringing down the supply of abortion, as it is bringing down the demand for abortion.
So we're going to hear from Missy Stone, Director of Reprotection, as well as Lauren Musica, founder of Sidewalk Advocates for Life. So first up, Reprotection helps pro-life leaders impact the industry by taking action that can actually close down their local abortion facility. So, Missy, welcome. So glad to have you. Shutting down abortion facilities. That sounds like a huge undertaking. What success have you seen so far?
Yeah, so Reprotection works with local pro-life leaders on how to identify the problems within the abortion businesses and began working with the governing agencies to bring about the appropriate actions to shut down those businesses. And we've had several successes using the strategy so far. Our organization was actually started because our founder, Kathy Humbarger, discovered the abortionist Ulrich Klopfer was not reporting abortions on children as young as 12 to Child Protective Services. So he was taken before the Indiana Medical Board. They suspended his license, and he chose to stop practicing permanently. And that action closed 3 abortion businesses in Indiana. But we had another victory recently in Florida just a few weeks ago. An abortionist was showing severe signs of physical impairment due to his age. He had several complaints filed against him for barely being able to communicate, barely being able to hold medical instruments in his hands, handling patients really roughly. One even went running out of the facility screaming, screaming, call 911. And when the medical board decided to open the investigation as a result of our complaints, he abruptly retired and his business is closing.
Wow. Thank you for the work you do. I mean, if you're not doing it, then no one's really checking in on people like that or facilities like this. So we absolutely have to be engaged in this area with the campaign for abortion-free cities. In all of these 20 cities, what do you think it's going to take to close down abortion facilities in these locations?
It's really going to be a case-by-case strategy. There's not a one-size-fits-all answers. We need to look at every facility, every violation specifically, and figure out what is the best way forward for that abortion business. And sometimes it will look like taking the egregious violations to the authorities, but sometimes there might need to be more of a focus on diverting business. The key is really precision in each situation. And a crucial aspect to creating specific strategies is a local expert. This is a sidewalk counselor, a pregnancy center director, any experienced pro-lifer in town that will help us be the eyes and the ears on the ground, who can help us gather the information that we need to make an informed decision on how best to move forward.
Excellent and incredible work. Thank you again for what you do, Missy. It is absolutely needed in the movement. And honestly, this campaign covers every angle. As you can see, as much work as we need to get done on the ground, we can go door knocking, we can get the right materials in people's hands. But for as long as the abortion industry is in our towns, they're going to keep fighting just as hard as we're fighting. So we absolutely need to make sure that our communities get these dangerous facilities out of our neighborhoods. Another way we can be impacting the industry is, of course, right out on the sidewalk, and that is through sidewalk advocacy. I'm sure you're familiar with our next guest. They've taken sidewalk advocacy to the next level. We're here with Lauren Musica with Sidewalk Advocates for Life. Welcome, Lauren. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Yes, of course. So, Lauren, just tell us what you've seen on the ground, what works, what is successful with your method of sidewalk advocacy in these abortion-free cities since we've launched in the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. We are so excited to partner with Students for Life of America on this national campaign because we see miracles when communities come together. It's communities that are ending abortion. Bottom line, when people of life show up to be the gateway to these mothers in crisis at the darkest places in their communities, to these loving, life-affirming resources in the community, our pregnancy resource centers and other local and national resources. Again, miracles happen. Women are finding hope and help for what may be a very desperate situation. And preborn children thereby are saved. Workers are leaving the business because when we're not helping clients, then we're helping the workers to find hope for their situation and leaving the industry. And then when you help enough women and you help enough workers, sometimes facilities close. Now, in one of the communities where a campaign is taking place and sidewalk advocacy has been launched, one of these communities where we're working in partnership, Jackson, Mississippi. So this is the last remaining abortion facility in the state of Mississippi. Sidewalk advocates have seen visits to that local life-affirming pregnancy center go up 5 times. So being there is so powerful. When we're there to stand in the gap for these women, let them know that these centers exist and that other community resources are ready to go to bat for them and their children, it's a game changer.
That's absolutely incredible. So how would someone normally just go about signing up to become a sidewalk advocate, to partner with you all? And then tell us a little bit about sort of the special twist that is with this campaign if they are within one of the 20 cities with the campaign for abortion-free cities. What is that sort of extra thing that they're going to be able to get with Sidewalk Advocates for Life?
Absolutely. So there's one of 2 ways to get involved on the sidewalk in partnership with Sidewalk Advocates for Life, Students for Life. So you can either start or join. right? So if you're in one of these cities where the campaign is taking place and there isn't a Sidewalk Advocates for Life presence at your abortion facility, and the way you know that is to go on our website, sidewalkadvocates.org, click the locations tab, and it will open up a map and you can see if there's one near you. So if there isn't one, then you can go ahead and apply. And the beautiful thing is, you can just hit the apply button in the upper right-hand corner. Students for Life is going to cover your application fee and your first renewal fee for your program. That is a huge deal. And then what happens is you are the gateway then to your entire community, letting them avail themselves of this incredible program. We have a 3-point program: comprehensive training, tools, and full-time staff support. So training, tools, and support. So you're going to get access to our comprehensive 5-hour training and everything else that goes with the program.
That's just excellent. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing that. I wanted to make sure you all caught that. There are so many opportunities for free resources, free materials with this campaign, and we just heard about another great resource. So if you are within one of those 20 cities for the campaign, then we are sponsoring your application fee to become a sidewalk advocate and that first renewal fee. So I want to make sure that you know whether or not that if there is already a sidewalk advocacy group in your community, just follow what Lauren said. And if you're curious which cities that we're actually active in with the campaign, you can go on and visit www.abortionfreecities.org/join, and you'll see a map of all of our 20 cities. If you find out that you're not within one of those 20 cities and you want to start a campaign, it's that same website, abortionfreecities.org/start, and you can look into what it takes to then start a campaign.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And oh my goodness, that is a lot packed into one webcast. I hope you are as excited. We have delivered on everything we told you we were going to do, but you know what? We've learned that there's a lot that goes into ending the greatest human rights injustice, abortion. The opposition is strong, but you and I, Michelle, all of the speakers, and all the other people part of this campaign for abortion-free cities, we are stronger, and we have a whole lot more to fight for than the abortion industry. We're ready, we're equipped, we are more passionate and determined than ever before to save lives. So tonight, if you know that God brought you onto this online event, this webcast, because you know it's your time to get more involved in actively ending abortion in your city, here's what you need to do right now. First, visit abortionfreecities.org. How many times have we said that throughout the webcast? But go there, either as soon as we're done or open a new tab or on a separate device. Join a current campaign if you are located near one of the 20 sponsored cities already, or on that website you can apply to start a campaign in your city. Or secondly, if you feel, hey, I want to help, but starting a campaign in my city, it's a little too much, you can sign up to get your church involved at abortionfreecities.org/church. So find a way to get yourself involved or find a way to get your church involved.
Yes, and I want to make sure that you understand all the resources again that we are offering. The big one is that over the next few weeks, we are going to choose 3 cities who apply to start a campaign that we will also fully fund the materials that you've heard about tonight. The door hangers, that highly specialized phone app that lets you determine which doors to knock on and then track your results, a unique call center number so you can measure the progress and the change that you're actually making connecting women to help, professionally printed yard signs, bumper magnets, even those church partnership kits to give to churches who agree to help you. Mm-hmm. So that's 3 cities chosen once all these awesome people apply.
Absolutely.
And then even if you're not chosen as one of those 3, everyone who completes and passes through that application process will receive the customized door hanger file, a unique call number, and at least a welcome kit of those materials.
Okay, that is a lot. And I want to thank so much the team at Students for Life. Michelle, thanks for your leadership on this. And all of the incredible partners, those we've heard from tonight, and others who are working behind the scenes, who are all committed to help you and to ensure that you are set up and ready to truly make your city abortion-free. This is our moment. We are the people called for such a time as this. So thank you for joining us during this webcast tonight. We can't wait to see all the headlines you're going to be generating through your Abortion Free Cities campaign, and we are going to work together to abolish abortion and to end it in your city, across our states, and throughout our nation. God bless you, and good night.